For those of us who can't draw, that would be me, I thought we would create a puppet for Character Animator found in Adobe After Effects. It's a preview software from ClipArt. So I've got some nice free ClipArt, and I'm going to start creating by creating some groups. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create 3 groups. 1, 2, 3, great. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to name my guy My Frog. And I'm going to put a little plus sign in front of there. That's so everything kind of keeps together, warps the way I want, whatever. Then I'm going to grab these two, drag them in. And I'm going to drag my little frog into here, which I'm going to name this Body. And then I'm going to get this group and I'm going to name it Head. Now the reason I dragged him in there is because, trust me, if you have a floating around free layer, it causes all kinds of weird things to happen in Character Animator, and we don't want that. So now I'm going to take my frog here and I'm going to adjust him, cut him up the way I want to use him. So first let's start with the eyes. I'm going to go Select, Color Range. I'm going to get this. I'm going to hold the Shift key and get the eyes. Now notice I'm going to get some extra stuff, but that's okay. And I don't want this, so I'm going to grab my lariat, my lasso tool. I'm going to hold the Option key and just delete the parts I don't want. There you go. And cut. Command X. Eyes are gone. Okay. And I'm going to go into my head layer, head group, and I'm going to add a new layer. And I'm going to make this layer, before I name it, I'm going to paste. Command Shift V so it pastes in place. I've got 2. I'm going to cut out one of these eyes and make one left, one right. Now when we talk left and right, we're talking about the characters left and right, which is opposite of you. I don't know, don't ask me. So I still have to adjust this to make some new layers. And let's grab, I'm going to grab the left eye. And I don't have to do anything real special. I'm just going to use my marquee tool. By the way, if you don't do it, and I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to make a new layer, and then I'm going to paste it in place, Command Shift V, and I'm going to rename this Left Eye Ball. We're going to refine this more. I'm going to go back and refine it more. We're going to cut out other people's, and I'm going to name this Right Eyeball. Again, we're going to refine it because we got a pupil in there. That's okay. So let's do the right side first. Now we're going to make groups after I get all this done. So let's make a, let's get the right eyeball. And I do the same thing. I'll just go Select, Color Range, boom. I've got it. I say OK. I don't want the mouth. I'm going to do the same thing again. You know, I just not there anymore. So we're going to cut the pupil from the eyeball. Thing is, if we cut this now, let me cut it. Notice how we left that kind of black. So I'm going to undo it. And we're going to expand this a little bit. So that's easy. Select, modify, expand. And we're going to expand it. We only should have to do it 1 pixel. Command X. Yep, much better. And we'll make a new layer. And we'll Command Shift V to paste it in place. There's a nice crisp eyeball. If I turn this off, it still looks nice and crisp. And we will name this Right Pupil. There you go. Right Pupil. And I'm going to add a plus sign in front of this so that it will act independently. There we go. Now if I turn this off, you'll see that there's a big transparent space. We don't want that. So I'm going to select the eyeball, grab my paintbrush with some white paint, and I'm just going to fill that in. There we go. Perfect. Next one, so I turn that back on. Now I can make a group right now, which I will. I'm going to click these 2 right eyeballs together, and I'm going to put them in a group. And the group is going to be called Right Eye. Right? Pretty easy. There we go. And I'm going to do open that back up because I still have I still need to add a couple things, but just see, you know, nice group. Say, now here we go for this eye. We'll do the same thing. select color range, hit it. There you go. We're going to say okay. I'm going to subtract the stuff I don't want, which is, the mouth, and I'll go option, and I'll subtract. Okay, he's not there. Now I can cut this, Command X, but remember, we got that edge, so we'll go up select, and we'll expand, modify, expand. 1 pixel will be fine. Now when we cut it, we've got a nice crisp and clean. And before I get out of here, I'll just do my little white painting thing. So we've got black here, change it to white. And I'll just paint this away. We don't want those little... There you go. All right. So we'll make a new layer. And Command-Shift-V to paste in place. There's our eyeball. And we can rename this left pupil. And we will also add a plus sign in front of here. Whoops. Well, I killed everything, so that left pupil. Awesome. Done. I collect them both. Click them both. Put them in a group. Rename the group. Left. L-E. Well, it's not with an F. L-E-F-T. Left. I-E-Y-E. There you go. So far, so good. We are also going to add some plus signs in these major groups. So I'm going to click here and add a plus sign. I should have started. It would have been a lot easier if I had. You know that, right? But I didn't. Plus sign. There you go. So they're going to warp independently. We're going to add a blink. We're going to add an eyelid to this. So let's open our groups. And we've got the left eye. And we'll just add into the left eye a new layer. And I'm going to just grab the rectangle tool. Not the rounded rectangle, but the rectangle tool. And I'm going to line this puppy up right about there. And make a nice rectangle. Now I don't want it to be white, so I'll just change it to black. And option. Let's just option delete. Now it's black. And then I'm going to copy it and deselect. It looks fine to me. And we'll name this left blink. There you go, left blink. Now we'll go to the right. We'll add a layer. We'll make sure the layer is in the Command-Shift-V. And we have to move it because I put it in place, so we'll just drag it over. And now it's behind the eyeball, so that's not good. We need it. We need this on the top layer. Huh. Oh. Wrong one. I got him on the wrong eyes. Silly me. This left blink we'll put here. Change it to right. Sometimes I'm not the smartest tool in the shack here. There we go. Right blink. And then left blink, we'll do the same thing. We'll just rename it left blink. So far, we've got our eyes together. Now, if I shut the eyes off, just turn off the eyes. And notice there's this big spot in here. Same thing happened with our white. So let's fill that in. So we'll go down here and choose our body layer. Make sure we get the right color green, so we use the eyedropper tool. I'm going to grab my paintbrush. Paintbrush, brush. And I can make this as big as small as I want, but I'm just going to fill it in. I can do this just to fill it in. And I'm being careful because I don't want to lose my eye. I don't want to screw up the shape of the eye. So I'm being careful. There we go. Whoops, I still missed a spot, didn't I? Boop. Done. And we'll do the same thing here. Like I said, I'm only careful on the edges because that's the one I don't want to screw up the shape of the eye to. And make sure I covered everything. And there we go. So now so I can turn my eyes back on. Dinka, dinka. Eyes are on. Got our blink. We're in pretty good shape. As a matter of fact, we're almost done. We still have the mouth to do. And the head. So let's get the mouth. Now here's the thing. The mouth is really complicated. It really is. So what we're going to do is we're going to cheat a little. So I have another puppet, and you can get these from the preview puppet they give you. They have a layer called mouth. So I'm going to open up my recent one because I practice. You know, it's not like I don't practice. So open up my frog. Here's my original one, and you'll see that there's a mouth in here. And I'm going to just drag it over here and drop it, and there's my mouth, and that's a lovely mouth, what let me tell you. So I'm going to show you, I'll flip the mouth down, and you'll see I've already got the smile in there. You know, I just need to get it to the position I want it in. So here's neutral, but the way I'm gonna deal with this is I'm going to take my frog, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to do the same thing I did before. Select color range, and I'm going to click in the mouth. I'm going to say OK, and really the only thing selected is the mouth. So I'm going to I don't want my other layers select. This is just one. Delete. And notice same problem we had before. We get that leftover line. So let's go back and do the select and modify, expand one. Okay, so now when we get it, we get everything. And I am going to fill this in with green and this with red. And then we'll move stuff around. So let's do that first. While we've got it selected, let's grab the green, which would be this, and you can get that with the here we go. Let's grab the eyedropper. So let's fill this. Option delete, and we filled it up. Now if we deselect that, notice the green's in there, so I don't want that. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so I can see what I'm doing, and I'm gonna not do everything. Now I could do the option delete and mess around, but I'm kind of lazy in general, so I'm just gonna use my paintbrush and just paint that in to the edges. Boom. Same thing over here, just paint to the edge and deselect. Now I'm gonna the other thing I want to do is I've got this here. I'm gonna increase the size of my brush till it fits nicely. Grab, do this, say OK. Now I got the right color. I'm gonna put that right there, and I can see where I screwed up my red. Do the same thing over here. Now I can just fix my move it just a little over a little and over a little. There we go. So I can fix my mistakes where I can see them, obviously. And let's grab a paintbrush brush. Now this one's a little big, so let's make it smaller. And let's paint over the things I missed. And let's just paint over the things I've missed. Paint over the things I've missed. Now, if there's anything on here that I didn't get, I can simply just do that. Option delete. Deselect. So anything extra that I didn't select when I did my selection. Now I've got the mouth layer. Let's move the mouth layer. Grab that. Just drag it over here. And what I'm going to use to help me line it up is actually the smile. So I'll turn on the eyeball. And it's a little big. So I better get that down to size. Command T. And let's just shrink it down a little bit till it fits where it's supposed to fit. There you go. I got a little thing there. That was my fault. I can go back and fix it though. Oops. Come back, come back. So I'll grab my brush tool. And, you know, fixing your mistakes is not a big deal. You know, you come over here and, you know, just paint it back in. That's not a big deal. So Froggy is pretty good shape. His mouth is on. Here's his neutral mouth. Here's his surprise mouth. Here's his woo mouth. So each one of them has something different going on. So we got that part. Now I need to get his head into the head layer. Because right now all we got is his, you know, we don't have his head where it belongs. So I'll click this. And before I do that, I'll make sure I select this. I'm just going to cut his head off. It sounds cruel, doesn't it? I'm just going to cut your head off. Well, I'm going to grab the marquee tool, and I'm going to come down to about here, and I'm just going to cut his head off. X. There we go. Now, the reason we can see his eyes and his mouth because those layers are turned on. So I'm going to create a new layer in the group, and I'm going to paste it in place. Now, why can't I see the mouth? And why do I have all these awful looking things? Well, it's real simple. I'm going to move this down to the very bottom. There we go. Things are looking a lot better. I'm just going to call it head background. So we got his head background. Now we need to add a layer which isn't going to make sense, but we're going to do it anyway. So it will after we do it. So I've got all my layers pretty much set. I got the head background. I need to make a new layer. And in this layer, I'm going to take my pen tool, you know, the one you hate to use, pen tool. Make sure it's set to shape. And I'm going to put a little dot. Now I played with this enough to know that I need to put it somewhere around here. Dot. And I'm going to name this origin. By the way, if you don't spell shit right, it doesn't work. All right. There you go. So we're going to save this as my frog. And I'm just going to stick them on the desktop for the time being. All right. So much for that part. Now let's get into After Effects. I'm just going to go this way because it's easy. After Effects, we let it open. And this will take a second because, you know, it takes a second. There's lots going on here. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is come over here. So now we're over in After Effects, and all we have to go is File, Open Adobe Character Animator, and a second program opens. Now you can open this by itself, but it's better when you open it up like that. Boom, there we are. That's my old frog. So I'm going to make a new project. We'll make it My Frog. See, I practice. My Frog. And there's nothing there. So the first thing we have to do is we're going to import. We go File, Import. We'll go find My Frog. It should be on the desktop. My Frog, there he is. Open. And it's still not there. Well, it's there, but we haven't added it to the scene. So we're going to come down here, Add to New Scene, click it, and there's our little frog. There he is. He's floating around in space, but that's okay because we'll work with that. We got two problems. One, you can see the band on his neck. We can fix that. And he's floating around in space. So let's do a couple little things. Let's put him let's go back to Photoshop. And let's just choose his head, background head. We have to make sure that the whole frog's on, but we want to just the background. And we're going to paint a little line in there, and that should fix. Let's select our head, and we'll just expand it and add a line. It's sort of the same idea as the eyes. So let's grab our selection tool, and there we go. Everything is selected. And I'm just going to only select the bottom like I did before. So we'll grab that, hold the Option key, just shh. And we'll just make sure we don't want to add anything extra. We just want it to the line. There we go. And we can transform that. Let's take selection and let's just do a transform. Let's just expand it a little bit. And we should be able to paint, just grab a paintbrush. Now normally I would fill, but since this is not uniform, and I just kind of did it uniform, I'm just going to grab my paintbrush and I'm just going to paint across. Now notice it won't paint outside. You only paint in, so let's just do that. And then deselect and save it. Now we'll got to turn all the eyeballs back on, otherwise you'll have weird stuff happening. So we'll save it. Let's see if that fixed our problem. Now notice we're preparing my frog. Yep, no more line. That's good. But we still got floaty frog. So let's move floaty frog down on the page. So let's go transform. And we're going to move the Y position. Here's the Y position. We don't want to go up, we want to go down. Let's set it at about 1200. Whoops, that's too far. 120. Let's try 200. That's not bad. We'll keep going. We can keep going down. So you can scrub. This is a scrubby. So you can just sort of scrub it down and just keep scrubbing it till you get it where you want as far as the Y goes. And the X is the same thing. Go right and left. And I'm going to move them right about 250. There you go. Now Froggy's still floating around. We got to fix that too. But that's fixed inside here. So we double click my frog. And there's my frog. And all we have to do is come down here to the thumbtack and make sure our frog is selected. Grab that tack and tack his feet. So we come back here. Frog's feet are steady. And we're following our eyeballs. Now we got things that aren't working. We're going to fix that too. But we got some things where his eyes are sort of jumping out of his head, and we can fix that. So we fix that by coming over to the face, and we change the strength. So we're going to change the strength of the eyelid strength, and we'll just decrease it a little. And the more we decrease it, the less we got going on. There you go, eyelid strength. We change the gaze down a little bit. There we go. After that, notice I smile. Now I got a couple things going on. I got to check my eyeballs to make sure they're all filled in, but I'm going to turn on my camera, which is on. It's following my head. I'm going to turn on my audio, and I'm going to click the reset. There we go. Now let's talk. I can talk, and my camera's on, so I can talk, and he's moving. Now I got extra eyeballs back there. Got duplicates. So let's go back and see what's going on. Let's go back to Photoshop. So this is not a perfect thing. So I got to start turning off some things. And there's our problem. We need to fill those in. Now what will we fill those in with? Well, we could fill them in with green because our eyeball fills everything. So let's fill in. We're going to fill this in on our body. So I forgot to do it. My fault. Select that. Let's turn the eyeballs off. And we'll turn off the right eyeball. And let's just fill this in. Now the best thing to do is take that eyedropper. Which that's not an eyedropper. Where's the eyedropper? Where is the eyedropper? It's somewhere in here. There it is. Eyedropper. Grab the right color. Grab a paintbrush. And I'll make it bigger because I don't want to waste a lot of time doing this. So we'll just, whoops, Command Z. Yep, my favorite keystroke, Command Z. Let's just paint these in. And we'll fill in all the transparency. There we go. We'll do the same thing over here. Just kind of fill this in. And a little dinka right there. Save, jump back. And it takes care of it. Now, we don't have the eyeballs on, but you can see that we filled it in nicely. So let's go back and turn everybody back on again. And everybody's back on again. All right. So, save, return. Eyeballs are in. We have a blink. Yeah, there's our blink. All right, now our eyes are still, the eyeballs aren't really holding steady, but we can, like I said, we just start playing with the strength, and the more we change it, the better we get. So we're going to do this, reset pose, look straight at him, reset pose, I'm good. I smiled. So let's do a quick recording, and that part's easy too. VCR, things down here, you don't even know what a VCR is, but trust me. Click. And we will start moving our head, and we will talk and smile, smile, smile. There we go. Blink, blink a couple times. That's it. Stop. Now we can play it back. And we will start moving our head and we will talk. See, it works. Great. So the last part to do is, of course, save it. So we saved it. We're going to export scene. And I'm going to put, we got scene my frog. We can put it right there. Save. This will only take a few seconds. It doesn't take long. And then we can put it into, so my frog is just blinking and talking and doing things. I'll show you how to put it into After Effects so that you can use it right away. Remember, you can just export out of After Effects just like you do on Premiere and add it that way. There's other ways to add it into Premiere, but we'll just go this way to start because it's the easiest. And we know I'm lazy, so awesome. And we're almost done. Dun, 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 dun. And done with that part. The audio is pretty fast. Okay, so I'm going to jump over here to this, create a new composition. I'm using just HD. File. You want to go to scripts. Then you want to find new composition like that. Now we just got to go find it. And there's my frog. Click the first one. That's all you need. Open. Wait, there's our frog. And if we play him, and we will start moving our head and we will talk. And there you go. He's there. Now I'm going to add a little background image. File, import, 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 import. There we go. Import, file. You could add video. You can add anything you want. I just happen to be just going to add a picture of a flower. Open. Now, because it's got to go on here, so we'll grab my flower, drag it, drop it. I know the frog's behind it. Chill. Let's we got to resize it. There we go. Hold the shift key, keep it. Now we'll just change the order layer right here. There we go. There's our frog. And we can move him around. We got our flower. We can choose our frog. Here's our frog. We'll move our frog around any place we want. Put him right there. And we can just let him go. Okay, and that's it. That's how you make a puppet out of a clip art, and we're done.